What's going on, everybody? Zera back with another CigarCast. I know it's been a minute since I've done one of these, but I promise I'm gonna get one of these out every week. Just lots of craziness, man. Lots of craziness. Since I fired up the stream full time, it's been wacko crazy nuts, man. We got lots to talk about. Lots of good stuff to talk about. Not to mention, it's not a coincidence that today is 7/7/2019. More on that in just a minute. Let's fire this puppy up. That is probably the most complete burn I've gotten on a first time burn. Look at that. Look how evenly distributed that is. Look at that. Look how glorious it is. Evenly distributed. I swear to God. Today marks the launch of Ryzen 3000. Man, dude, that is ridiculous, man. Ryzen 3000. Everything that I've read up to this point prior to today has all been, really good stuff. But you have to hold out, man. You have to hold out hope, because you never know. This could all turn out to be hogwash, You don't really know what to expect. You don't really know what to think, what to say. At the end of the day, all this hype could be for nothing. And you certainly don't want that. But no, lo and behold, it all came out in the wash, dude. I'm telling you. Ryzen 3900X is the pinnacle of compute performance for the consumer. You can't get anything better. 12 cores, 24 threads, sustained. Now granted, it's boost and sustained. Precision boost is the key word for Ryzen. Its precision boost and sustain is like less than 1,000 megahertz, which is a gig. There's like no difference whatsoever. But here's the thing, is that even at 4.2 or 4.25 gigahertz, that son of a gun is way more superior to anything where Intel's got at the consumer level. It's ridiculous. Cinebench, handbrake, blender, you name it, just blows it out of the water. The only thing is that I'm a content creator, right? So I'm thinking I'm gonna need the 3900X. I've been thinking this for months now, ever since it was announced at Computex. But looking back on it now, and looking at the actual raw numbers, I'm thinking that a 3700X or even a 3800X would be more than efficient. I don't even see the point in a 3900X. I just don't. I mean, 12 cores, 24 threads, yeah, that sounds great and all, but 8 cores, 16 threads. I mean, I'm rocking a 4790K right now. I'm rocking an Intel 4790K, which to me has been the most amazing processor ever. Like, that sucker is damn near 6 or 7 generations old, and it is still like at the top of the heap for me. It's incredible. Quality of work, thermals, everything is just gorgeous. It's perfect. It's the right sweet spot for everything. Yeah, it was a little on the more expensive side when I first bought it years ago, but, you know, I'm still rocking DDR3. I mean, this sucker is ancient technology compared to what we got now. So I'm thinking between going from a traditional 2.5 SSD to a M.2 SSD, NVMe, whatever else you want to call it, on PCIe 4, dude, on top of a Ryzen 3700X, 3800X, 3900X, whichever one of those variants I'm going to get, just with those two different things alone, NVMe on PCIe 4 and a 37 to 3900X somewhere variant range, dude, I'm gonna have so much more compute performance, processing power, loading speeds, and the whole nine. And my PC already boots up in like, I push my button on a clean reinstall. I push the button and that sucker will boot up in less than 4 seconds flat. Like, I can't even imagine how much faster it's gonna boot up in the future. Now, it is on liquid cooling, and it is overclocked, 4.8 gigahertz across all cores, all threads. But imagine the IPC performance increase from a, like, 4th gen Intel chip to a now 3rd gen Ryzen chip. I mean, it's gonna be absurd. It's gonna be insane. So, I think I'm gonna hold off until this time next month, because I'm not gonna need it. Obviously, what I have now is more than enough for streaming, especially. Editing, it's lacking. It takes a little longer for my videos to encode than I'd like, but you know what? I'm not doing anything at 4K yet, yet being the key word. I don't have a, $2,000 camera that's going to record at 4K or 8K and then I can downscale when I'm editing. No. I don't have that, don't need that. As far as I'm concerned, 4K is just a little overhyped. I mean, it really is. I've gamed on a 4K monitor, and while it does look gorgeous, you look at the price tag and you're like, that ain't worth it, dude. That ain't worth it. I'm sorry. And if you're out there and you disagree with me, that's fine. That's your thought process. I'm just thinking from the level of consumer, a gamer, a streamer, a content creator. 4K, it's just not worth it. Ultra wide, that's the sweet spot. That's where you want it, because you're like, what, 30% fewer frames than 4K, and yet you're getting so much more performance out of a graphics card, a processor, and the whole kit and caboodle. Not to mention, let's just layout wise, you can stack or layer 3 windows side by side in portrait mode and be fine. You have a web browser, you can have your OBS, and you can have, your Twitch, or basically your stream overlay, not OBS, but your stream dashboard to show you your viewers, your chat, and everything else, all right there, OBS, and then you got your browser over here. Like, it's a dream come true. That's how I run my setup, and it runs fantastic. And I game on a 2560 1440 monitor. To me, anything beyond that, and I'm like squinting to look at, is aim shot on cooldown? I can't tell. What the hell? Is aim shot on cooldown? Nah, dude. Nah, I mean, I get it. You can amplify your user interface in World of Warcraft, for example, and make it larger. But even then, I'm like, I don't care for it. I really don't. I think a 2560 by 1440 at about 27 inches is the sweet spot. That being said, if you were to run 4K, I would suggest about 32 to 34 inches at 4K. Anything bigger than that, and it's just a little absurd. It's a little on the absurd side. You don't want to do 27 inches. I know that Asus Republic of Gamers has got this like absurd, 3840 by 2160 4K, 144 hertz, just absolutely, no, is it 240 hertz? It's something stupid. It's like the first, 100 plus hertz refresh rate or higher 4K monitor. It's at 27 inches, and I'm sorry, dude, but that's just too many pixels packed in a small area. It's just too many pixels, dude. I'm much better off, because then you gotta increase the scaling to God knows how far up on the Windows default, which doesn't really look all that great. Windows scaling has never performed very well. Doesn't look very natural. So I can sit here and talk about tech all day, because I'm just as passionate, if not more passionate, about tech than I am WoW. But I just wanted to dive in real quick and talk about these performance enhancements and what I'm thinking about doing. I'm really going to have to weigh price to performance between the 3700X, 3800X, and 3900X, because the fact that the RTX cards for NVIDIA, which I have an RTX 2080, oh, and there's the RTX super cards that are coming out, which are basically TI variants. So we got that to talk about. At least I do. What I'm probably going to end up doing is keeping my 2080, my RTX 2080, and just holding on to it, because honestly it's doing everything I needed to do plus some. I put everything in a 7 or an 8 for World of Warcraft, which, believe me, is more than enough. And then I'm playing at 2560 by 1440, which, is not 4K, so obviously it's a lot less detriment on the card in and of itself. And then the RTX cards have their own encoding hardware that does all the encoding, so my CPU takes no blow to performance due to OBS streaming or recording. So that actually is amazing. So literally the only thing I need a processor for is for encoding my videos and editing in general. So I probably am just going to rock an 8-core processor and forget the 12-core variant, because I just don't think I need that much computing power. I just don't. You give me an 8-core 16-thread processor with an NVMe SSD, and then you also give me, I don't know, 32 gigs of RAM. 16 gigs is all you need for gaming, but since I am a content creator, that extra 16 gigs will go a long way. So you have 32 gigs of RAM, you have 8-core, 16-thread, at about 4.4, 4.5 precision boost, and there you go. With an NVMe, you're done. You're done. You don't. RTX will take care of all the encoding for OBS, and gaming is not affected by that. Those RTX cards, I'm telling you, are game changing. Just on that aspect alone, they're completely game changing. So, bravo, NVIDIA. I would love to get an RTX 2080 Super, because I have no doubt the RTX 2080 Super is probably going to be on par. We don't have reviews on them yet, but I'm willing to bet you they're going to be on par with the 2080 Ti for the same price that the RTX 2080 was. And I actually got the RTX 2080 on sale for $600. I got it on sale right after it went on sale. I found some stupid, oblivious, nonsense website I never even heard of before. It was like, hey, it's Thanksgiving, Black Friday, or discount clearance week or whatever, and I got an RTX 2080 for $600. It was bundled with Battlefield 5, which I have yet to play a single time because I'm not a Battlefield fan. But regardless, all that being said, let's move into World of Warcraft Classic. Dude. Classic, man. Not a day goes by and I don't think about it multiple times a day. Multiple times a day. The big thing for me, though, honestly, and this is probably true of a lot of people, is I have to dial back my expectations, man. I have to, bro. I have to, because the hype is never, ever, 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 ever gonna be this high. I believe once it launches, the luster's gonna fall off. A lot of people are gonna probably back off once they realize how much of a grind it is. But for those of us that are actually gonna stick with it, a lot of the fun is gonna be that initial leveling. So you don't want to be too hyped during it, because then, like, by the time you realize it, you're like halfway to 60 and you're like, oh man, already? Man, I missed that. I was so, like, the adrenaline's pumping so fast and the blood's pumping so fast, you don't even realize that you're not really enjoying the journey. So you need to calm your mind a little bit. Use the stress test to set up your macros, your bars, your keybinds, and everything else, because the client is there. The client is not going to change. You're good. You're good. You just have to make sure that you put the macros under general and not under character specific. You put it under general and they'll stay there. They won't go anywhere. So you set up your macros, you set up your bars, you set up your keybinds, and those three things will not change. Now, character interface, where your portrait is, or your actual, stuff like that, that stuff is going to have to get manipulated later. You're going to have to reactivate auto loot, which I think is Blizzard. Why can't you just make that default? Come on. So the other thing is going to be the idea that there is this subreddit that popped up the other day. And a buddy of mine mentioned this to me from Discord. Actually, it's my guild leader. Shout out to Dom. He mentioned this subreddit to me about Classic Plus. Okay. Anybody with any sense of creativity knows where this is going. Supposedly, there's this idea that once we get to Naxxramas, and Naxxramas is essentially on farm, and Classic has really kind of, has kind of worn out its welcome, so to speak. What do we do at this point? I mean, like, the obvious answer is TBC. Like, that's just... But then, what happens when we get to into TBC? Well, Wrath. What happens when we get to into Wrath? Kata? No, absolutely not. No. I can see them doing a Legacy TBC. I can see them doing a Legacy Wrath. But you start throwing out Legacy Kata, Legacy Mop, while I would love, God help me, please do a Legacy Mop. Oh, God, I would love you guys so much. You start getting into Legacy Kata or Legacy Mop, and this is never going to end. This is never going to end. You're going to have legacies for every single expansion, and then it's going to make expansions basically worthless. Because you're going to get to the point to where we have Legacy WoD, and people are going to be like, we didn't like WoD. So Blizzard's just going to, what, skip WoD entirely and do Legacy Legion? No, because that would be probably within the next 6 to 7 years, and we're going to be so close. We're not going to be nearly as far removed from Legion as we are from Vanilla to make that even worthwhile. So no, I don't think, if they do these Legacy servers to an additional extent, my guess is we're probably not going to go beyond Wrath. It's just my guess, because Kata, while for PvP it was really good, it was not one of those things that we can just forgive Kata for completely changing the world. Because, especially after having played Classic, or TBC, or Wrath, we're going to love Azeroth the way it is in those variants. And they change it again, granted, only on a Classic Legacy server, or, excuse me, a Cataclysm Legacy server. That's still not gonna sit well with players, I promise you. Especially when it hits people how hugely different the worlds are. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. I think that if we had something like a Classic Plus, you need to basically introduce character models and stories and zones that are already in the game. For example, the Karazhan crypts. The crypts underneath Karazhan that you can glitch into in the Classic Beta or in the Classic stress tests. You can get in there and it's like the creepiest thing you'll ever see. Bodies hanging up upside down in the sewers inside the crypt and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, it looks really creepy. That would make a really great 40-man raid in my mind. Call it the Risen Spirit of Medivh or something. I don't know. Or Minions of Medivh. Something creative like that. I've already come up. I was so intrigued by this idea. I came up with the name of potential tier sets. I have no idea. I just, my creative juices were flowing last night, and I just started writing out names for tier sets. I came up with stuff like Skull Stalker for a hunter, or how about this? How about Soul Reaper armor for rogues? Soul Reaper. That just sends chills down my spine for a tier set name for rogues in Classic. Or how about, something like Chaos Raiment for warlocks, or something like Tainted Raiment for warlocks as well. Either one of those would be great. Or for warriors, I came up with 3 for warriors. I came up with Enforcer's battle gear, Obliterator's battle gear, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Tormentor's battle gear. I mean, pick one of those. Just pick one. I mean, it sounds incredible. Or for priests, I came up with a couple. Vestments of Hope. Oh, it was a bird. What the hell? Vestments of Hope would be great. Vestments of Deliverance. Oh my God. Amazing name. I can't believe this has never been used before. Or how about Vestments of Mercy? I mean, these are all really good names for priest gear. Vestments of Conviction. Oh. But then you get to the Paladins, and Paladins is all about, in Classic, their tier sets were all Judgment, Lawbringer, and I'm trying to remember what the third one was. Judgment, Lawbringer, and Redemption, something like that. Salvation, dude. Salvation armor for Paladins. That just nails it right there. Salvation. You can't come up with a better name. Salvation armor for a Paladin. Too good. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. That's a subreddit. People want to have a Classic Plus. It's a very small audience that wants it. I see the appeal. And I think if Blizzard does it right and makes it a separate server for people who are not purists, but people who still love the look and feel and the overall just experience of Classic and want to see it go further in an original direction, I think that would be really cool. Blizzard obviously had ideas for Classic. There's character models, there's zones you can glitch into. You can see areas. Hell, we had Caverns of Time. It was there. Just wasn't open. We had the Crypts and Karazhan. They were there. They just weren't open. Hajal was there. It just wasn't open. There's a whole lot of stuff that was there that just wasn't accessible, but it was in the game files. So, I don't know. I thought maybe like Crypts of Karazhan could be a 20-man raid and like a ZG or AQ20, and then you could have the, we could have the Caverns of Time with the battle from Mount Hajal be like a 40-man raid, and there you go. There's two raids, and one new half tier set, like 3.5, and one full tier set, tier 4. Bravo. There you go. Make it happen. And I don't know. I wouldn't know what else direction they could go in. Obviously, you couldn't. It would still have to be level 60. No new talents, no new spells, no new abilities. Just original content that can push us a little bit further, give us something else to sink our teeth into. But personally, me, I'm a purist, dude. I'm a purist. I see the appeal for it, but the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, you know what? I would rather Blizzard give us 3 options. Either A, you stay on Legacy, you stay on the Classic server, and we don't touch your tune, we don't do nothing, and then you just create a new character on your own, and you just, go back through the content. Or 2, we reset the Legacy, we reset the Classic server, and force you to create a new character on a new server. It's still Classic, and you progress that way. Or 3, we give you the option to roll that character over. We can still keep it on a Classic server, but you copy and roll that copy over to a TBC Legacy server, and then you progress through TBC. So if you ever want to go back to Classic to do BGs or do whatever, you could do that. You could conceivably do that. Personally, if I had a choice, I would probably copy a character over, because I'd still want to have that character just chilling. But at the same time, I would also I would still want to go back and re-level through that content and probably raid Molten Core one more time on a fresh character with a new character that I've never done before. But here's the thing, I don't have to wait for a reset to do that. I mean, I'm going to be playing my hunters so hardcore that by the time we get to Blackwing Lair, because we're not getting a new, it's probably going to take us close to a year to get anything beyond Blackwing Lair. I mean, we're not getting ZG for at least 12, 14 months, at least. So you're thinking, you've got Blackwing Lair basically on farm by month, 10 or 11. You're like, you know what, let me go back and, I've got this alt I've been working on, it's level 60, it's attuned for Oni and MC. Let me go ahead and just, run this priest, or run this druid, or run this rogue, or run this warrior, whatever it's going to be. Run it through MC, get it decked out in Tier 1, and potentially a majority of Tier 2 before we move into, ZG and AQ. And even then, ZG's just 20 man. You just need a handful of pieces from it for your main, and then again, you can go back to your alt and just level it through. Yeah, you can't have 50 bajillion alts, but you could conceivably have one alt. Especially if you're a hunter main and you're able to have 2 accounts, and you can, use improved aspect of the pack with 36% movement speed increase. And your alt's just blitzing through content with that level 60 doing everything for you. Content would be easy. It'd be a face roll to get through. Instead of taking, 2 weeks to level, it would probably only take you a week. It's just a simple fact of the matter. You wouldn't get any mob experience, obviously, but you'd still get experience from the quest. So, and just the sheer speed at which you'd be able to do it at, the content at, it's crazy, 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 crazy. And if you got a couple of warlock buddies, you gotta have a couple of warlock buddies, summon your alt to those zones, and then your 60 main can fly to those areas on a griffin. A limited downtime. It would be great. Now, obviously, it would take a lot of work on the front end, but it would save you endless hours of grinding on the back end. So it works out. I think for me, though, the topic that we need to discuss, and it's just a fluke of nature that these are coming out at even portions throughout the CigarCast. But let's move on to the next topic, the stream. Guys, I can't thank y'all enough. Grez, Steel, Raz, guys, y'all have been with me from day one. and you guys subbed to me immediately. You gifted subs to others. I've had my sub button for 2 streams now. Just 2 streams. And I can't even imagine, you know, I could never imagine this moment in my head. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, Zera, you need to calm down, dude. It's just affiliate. It's not that big a deal. And yeah, I mean, if this is all you've known, this program, this opportunity, sure, absolutely. But think about it from my point of view. Affiliate wasn't a thing when I started streaming, what, back in 2014? It was never a thing. And I streamed hard. I mean, I grinded hard for 2 years. And I had to hang it up. I couldn't do it anymore. By 2016, I was burnout. Not burnout. I was spread too thin. I was doing college. I was dating my eventual wife. There was a whole lot of things that started coming into play. And I just had to hang it up. I had to hang it up. WoW was not doing it for me anymore because retail started going downhill fast. Towards the tail end of WoD. Legion kind of picked up a little bit, and I streamed the beta, and I streamed early on during the first tier of rating in Legion, but it just, after that, kind of just with the RNG, with the legendaries, just, didn't do it for me, and I just hung it all up because I needed to focus on myself. I needed to focus on life, and that was about as far as that went. I come back to the scene, though, which I always knew I would, once I finally things calmed down and I was actually able to balance real life. Because, I'm sorry, a lot of people may disagree with me, but working a 9-to-5 job, or for me a 6-to-6 job, I work a 12-hour shift. Working a 12-hour shift 3 to 4 days a week, and being married to my wife, who also works super long hours from working in a hospital, all that, I fulfill my obligations as working, and I come home, I take care of the dishes, take care of the laundry, I take care of making sure the house stays clean. The wife's still at work, I've got a few hours to kill. Alright, let me fire up a stream. Let me have some fun. And that's what it was at first, and now I have a sub button. Like, instantly. Within a week of me starting streaming again, I have a sub button. That just, for that to have happened so soon after coming back, just kills me, dude. I can't even put into words because I grinded for 2 years. I grinded for 2 years, man. Never happened. I petitioned Twitch multiple times. My fans I think I had a petition floating around that had several hundred names on it. Nothing came of it. Twitch was like, no, you don't. You're not, nope. And I remember people would host me with like 2 or 3 or even 4,000 viewers. And you know how like somebody will host somebody, and immediately people would dip out from the stream, and their viewer number will go from like 4,000 or something all the way back down to maybe 1,000 or 1,100, just because the majority of those viewers are not interested in that streamer. Not the case, dude. Not the case. I maintained every single view from a host. Every single one. If somebody hosted me with 4,000 viewers, I guarantee you 2 hours later, I still had 3,900 viewers. Guarantee you. It happened a multitude of times, which tells me that I'm entertaining. It tells me that I'm able to hook people when they come into the stream. But it's all about exposure, and Twitch is like the worst platform in the world to get exposure on. It just is, especially for something like World of Warcraft, where there's so many people streaming it. If you don't have, a consistent following of a few hundred people and a few hundred viewers, you're going to go down to the bottom of the list. And since I've been gone for so long, people have kind of forgotten about me, and they don't recognize me because my name's changed and a whole lot. It's been so long, but slowly but surely people are starting to trickle back in, and my viewer numbers are starting to rise, and starting to rise, and starting to rise, and starting to rise. and my number of unique chatters is starting to rise. And all this is going to happen between now and the time Classic comes out, and I'm hoping by the time Classic comes out, I'm going to get back to that consistent viewership of, 40, 50, which is just, a dozen, a few dozen away from the actual 75 average, which is required for partner. Classic comes out, retail and Classic are going to split. They're going to become their own categories, I'm sure, and which is going to allow me to potentially have a breakout moment. Especially the faster I get to 60, the better it's going to be for me. It's going to get more eyeballs on me. And I've also seen almost no legit hunters on Classic. I don't know if Dilly's going to do Classic because he pushes Glad on retail, and I'm sure between pushing Glad on retail and the lull of seasons, he'll probably want to level Classic. But is he going to be able to devote enough time to Classic for it to mean anything? Maybe, maybe not. Another one is Brang. Brang's a good buddy of mine. Is he going to be able to focus on Classic 100%? Absolutely. He's told me numerous times he's basically all but given up on retail. Now, does that mean he's going to stop leveling and playing on retail? Probably not. He'll probably do retail enough to be able to get, a significant number of PvP pieces, and probably still put out a montage of PvP on retail probably once a year. That's not a bad goal to aim. I'll probably do something similar. And then, what's another good hunter? Bean's streaming Classic content on a hunter. Bean's all right. He's not bad. I don't know the guy personally. I've only watched his stream a handful of times, and he's a good quality streamer. I just don't know what his intentions are. I've never talked to the guy. I don't know anything about him. I've spoken to Dilly. I've spoken to Brang in the past, and they've alluded to me what their intentions are. But I don't know Bean, so I don't know what his intentions are. But between those three, one of the three I know is going to be playing Classic priority, but he's going to be doing it completely different from me. His sole purpose is PvP. Is pushing rank 14, getting field marshal, getting grand marshal, and I'm like, you know what, dude? That's not me, bro. I'm gonna be focused on PvE. I'm gonna be focused on getting my tier sets. I'm gonna be focused on putting out the best content available for the hunter, solely around the hunter. Guides, macros, add-ons, you name it, strats, everything. We're gonna talk about it. So I think there's going to be a niche there. There's going to be a niche there that I can meet the demand for, and I can excel at. Especially when at the end of the year, when I drop this job, because of the opportunities that my wife are going to have, are going to allow me to do that. Which is going to allow me to focus 100% of my energy on the YouTube channel and the stream. So, here's my point. If we get to the end of this lull, quote unquote, Classic releases, I build up a following to that point, and then after that my numbers jump 30, 40, 50%, within the first month, and now we're talking I have the average viewers available necessary for potential partner. Twitch will probably do what it does and, give me a month to make sure I can maintain that number of views, and I have every confidence that I will. And then they'll email me sometime around December or January and say, hey, you know what? We invite you to be a partner. Hell yes, absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal. I was thinking maybe affiliate by the end of the year, partner within the first 6 to 9 months of next year. But nah, dude, we got affiliate in a week. I'm like, what? What? You kidding me? No way. Y'all's love, support, aspirations for me and this channel and the content that we're producing exceeds beyond anything I would have ever imagined. So, with that being said, I love you guys, man. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I can't say it enough. And do not doubt me on this. We're going to push smart, but we're still going to push hard. We're going to do it smart this time, and we're going to do it right. We're going to do it hard. We're going to do it fast. Okay? And the more support that comes my way is only going to amplify the amount of content, the quality of the content, and the speed at which it is produced. Not necessarily quantity. I'm all about quality over quantity. But if I'm able to push out 3 or 4 or 5 videos in a week and edit them over the course of several weeks and put them out over a space of a month, then you know what that means for the stream? That means I have to spend less time shooting videos throughout the month. I got the first week of the month can be my hardcore shooting week. I stream 3 days a week that week. The next week I can stream 4 or 5 days a week. Third week I can stream 5 or 6 days a week. Fourth week I can stream another 5 or 6 days a week, and just keep pushing, because I've already done all my shooting. I've already done the majority of my editing, and now it's just uploading it to YouTube, making sure that I have, you know, thumbnails, I have cards, I have end screens, I have all this other stuff, polls that I might want to do, you know, maybe collaboration projects I do with other YouTubers, whatever it might be. This is going to open up an avenue for me. So thank you guys so much for the support. I'm so blessed to have you guys as an audience, and I'm so excited about the future. We're down to the last little nub here, so let's say one last thing about this stream. One last thing. I got my sub badges up. So when the stream goes live, not this week, okay? It's Sunday today. This video is going up today. This coming week, I will not be streaming. I had a pre-planned trip before I started my stream to go see my parents, and unfortunately, my parents do not have a viable PC for me to stream on, and my PC is really too bulky to be moving cross-state 400 miles one direction to, or one way, to really make that worthwhile. Not to mention I have no place to set it up at the house. Where my desk used to be is now where my father's laptop is. He's got a second setup because the AC's out downstairs, and his office that he usually works out of with his PC is too hot to work in. So he has to move into my old bedroom where I used to stay years ago, and where my desk was, and still is, where we actually have a portable AC in that room, and it's able to ventilate because there's a window in that room. There's not a window in his other office. So he's got that office basically to himself. But the plan is to record videos and have those up for you guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and record a video, and this is going to be a tall order to do. It's going to be a very tall order. There's probably no way in reality I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make it happen. I'm going to upload a video a day to YouTube. A video a day to YouTube this week. That's insane, I know, but it's going to keep the quality of the content coming in my absence, and you guys are going to reap the rewards for it. We're going to wrap up our video topic on tips and tricks for Classic. There's going to be 3 more videos about that. We are going to push out content for. We're going to make a video talking more about hunters for Classic in general, like more specific things about hunters for Classic. And then the other topic the 5th topic I'm thinking about doing is going to be about this idea for Classic Plus. I don't know yet about that idea. I'm thinking about it. It might be kind of a bonus video I might do in the future, but we'll see. But with that, guys, I love y'all. Stay kind to one another. Stay salty. And I'll see you in the next video. Zera out.